Hello, everybody, and welcome to our 17th live show of
Hey,
the year, of the college football season. At least it's a new year, 2026. It's been like 2 weeks, but we're back here to talk about the quarterfinals of the college football playoff. We're going to talk about the transfer portal. That's been crazy, and we're going to talk about the semifinals coming up tomorrow and Friday. Um, so yeah, we've got a lot to talk about today, and here with me to talk about it is Charlie Jr. How you doing, Charlie?
great as always. Talking about some college football. Let's get into it.
Okay, okay. Well, apologies we weren't able to do it last week. A lot of stuff going on with Christmas and all that stuff, but
And
we're
Trent
back.
flaking,
Trent flaking again.
like
Um,
right now. Shout out
like
Trent.
shout out Trent. Maybe you'll be on next time. I don't know. I'm not.
He should
I
be
I
next
just
time.
we'll see,
Should be.
but who knows?
Yeah.
We we don't know. But we're here to talk about the the games that happened last week. Some really good games. So let's talk about them. Let's pull up our little handy dandy slideshow showing you that it's our 17th live show. And let's start out the first game, and possibly maybe the best game, arguably up there with the Sugar Bowl. It is the Cotton Bowl, Miami versus Ohio State, the biggest upset possibly in playoff history. Uh, we were all here watching it together on New Year's Eve. So I'll ask you, CJ, what were your thoughts on this one? What stuck out to you about this game?
I think I'll take kind of a different approach here. I'll say like my biggest what I took away from this game is just how Ohio State cannot score against a very I'd say as soon as they face a competent defense, like they don't put up 30, they're not running the ball down people's throats, they're not finding Jeremiah Smith in space as much as they should. But their only source of offense was this in this game was Jeremiah Smith. And they just could not run the ball against this Miami front. And I think Miami played a great game defensively. Um, and I think for the last couple of years, we just see is Ohio State doesn't manhandle teams that are with good defenses like they do in their weak conference. Um, and honestly put him on fraud watch this game, and it was, I guess, pretty refreshing to see, and a great game from Carson Beck as well.
Yeah, I mean, this was a very interesting game. It felt like Miami was the more physical team, obviously. Watching this one, a couple things didn't even go their way and they still were able to come out with the victory. I think watching to start out with that fumble early on in the game where Miami had a good drive going and they fumbled it, you kind of thought, okay, this is where Ohio State's going to kind of take over. But they never really got their offense going really until the second half. I mean, they got shut out in the first half. Um, but yeah, like you said, Jeremiah Smith was really their main point of their offense. Carnell Tate had a couple good catches, but it was really Jeremiah Smith 7 catches, 157 yards, 1 touchdown. I mean, really, it kind of had me thinking, why didn't weren't they going to him more? Like, I mean, you think about it, and Julian Sand going 22 for 35, 287, a touchdown and 2 interceptions. He really seemed to be struggling, and Jeremiah Smith really being the focal point of the offense. He had a deep shot, he had a touchdown, had a couple other plays in there. I mean, he really was the focal point of this offense. And when you kind of think about it, how Miami uses Malachi Tony, I was kind of thinking, why weren't they using Jeremiah Smith more in that role of,
And we say
maybe.
that, and he still had 7 catches for 157.
Yeah.
But I feel like in the same way, it's like they try not to force feed him the ball to like protect their media narrative that they need Jeremiah Smith. But I feel like if I'm um in the offensive coordinator role, I think he gets as many touches as he wants a game. I think he could have easily had 12 receptions this game. And they could have possibly, I'm not gonna say they would have won, but there would have been more of a respectable game and not have been a two score ball game. Um, that's just my 2 cents.
I mean, yeah, I think you look at it and Ohio State can't run the ball this game. I think
Mm-mm.
that's a big key part to it. I mean, even I mean, but then again, you look at it and for for it being sack adjusted, still under 100 yards rushing, not what you want to do against Miami. And I think you look at it and it's really put up to Julian Sand, and Julian Sand hasn't had to put a team on his back and really win a game this year. I think you look at the even the Indiana game, he did what he had to do there. It was just a missed field goal at the end of the day. I think, if it goes to overtime, who knows who wins that game. But I mean, Ohio State was still one of the most talented teams in the country, arguably maybe even the
They
best
have the
team in the
best roster in the
country.
country, no
They
doubt.
have the best roster in the country. I think it was a point of just them not being coached well. I think maybe you mixed in the bye week too, and just I think that's a mix of what it was. Is that they weren't physical enough. The coaching was better on Miami's side. I think Mario Cristobal did a really good job in this game. Uh, but then again, you look at it, and also Malachi Tony, one of the biggest parts of this Miami offense was limited. Carson Beck only had 138 yards throwing the ball. Like it wasn't a complete domination from Miami in this game. It was really Miami just being more physical on defense. They got a pick six. They were able to create a couple turnovers in this game and really dominate. They were 7 for 14 on third down. It was just a really well executed game from them, and I don't think every single time Miami wins this game, but I think Miami really showed their teeth in this game, and they've done it in the last two games, especially when you go back to the Texas A&M game too. I think a lot of people were kind of still questioning them after that game because of the way Texas A&M played, but Miami just copied and pasted what they did against Texas A&M and put it here against Ohio State, and so they're a dangerous team. And for these next two games, I think Miami's gonna. I think they're a really good threat to maybe win the national championship, uh, and that's kind of shocking. Just kind of because of what they did in the regular season. But they turned it around and they used the couple weeks off that they had to their advantage, and they've come out and beat two really good opponents.
I think also to what you said, I mean, if Ohio State comes in this game with a different run attack and a different run approach, um, I think this game could end up different. Um, and also, I just feel like what's with the first round bye, this probably needs to get changed in the next couple of years. Um, every single team lost, just like last year, and I think something needs to be changed.
Uh, yeah, we can talk about that now. I think now Indiana did win. Uh,
Well,
they were the they were
yes.
the they were the only team that did win that had a first round bye. But
So move on.
every other team lost. Ohio State lost. Georgia lost. Texas Tech lost. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, I
But
mean, and Indiana probably would have been on lost watch. Say they played not a G5 team. Not a G5 team. Say they played a
I'll
greater
get we'll
opponent.
we'll get to that. We'll get to that game because I feel
Yeah,
like a lot. I mean, even you looked at it. I think a lot of people were predicting Alabama to win that game. So I
yeah, and
think I
we could
think
also argue that Alabama shouldn't have been in the playoff. Like it's a whole thing. So
so I think the buy situation should be fixed to where it's just one round after another. I don't think I think
yeah,
it's more of a disadvantage for the teams who have the buy. And I mean, the sample size is small, but I mean, it's there. It's
I
the
mean the
teams
sample
who have
size
the
is
first.
small, but it's one sided. I mean,
It's one and
so one
they're one
sided.
and teams are 1-7,
Yeah,
and I think you know it's just like it's tough. I think we'll have to see it out a couple more years, but then again, I don't know if we're going to see it out for a couple more years because the playoff structure might get changed. Uh, but I don't know. I think it's definitely interesting, especially as the day was going on to see. Okay, Miami lost, Texas Tech lost. Like the first round buys, like you could just see it. Like Ohio State took a little bit to get going. They got going in the second half. Texas Tech, they never got going on offense. They got going on defense, but yeah. So uh, very very interesting. And I mean, we'll talk about it later, but I mean, even Indiana needed a little bit of time to get going. So very interesting thing to talk about there. But Miami did look very impressive in this game against a really good Ohio State team. So uh, they will be going off to the Fiesta Bowl. We'll talk about that game here at the end of the live show. But now let's move on to the team who they're going to be facing in the Fiesta Bowl, Ole Miss, who had another big upset in this playoff against Georgia. Not a lot of people saw this one coming, but it happened. Ole Miss beating Georgia 39-34 off of possibly one of the greatest playoff performances a quarterback's ever had. Uh, I mean, there were a couple plays in this game where Trinidad Chambliss just made it work. So I'll hand it off to you here, CJ. What did you think about this game and Ole Miss's win?
I mean, I think you said it perfectly. If anybody else is playing at quarterback for Ole Miss, I think they probably lose this game. I mean, this is a great playoff performance from any quarterback, regardless of who it is. Trinidad Chambliss played like a number one QB in this next draft, and that is the sole reason why Ole Miss won this game.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, there were just it took him a little bit to warm up, and I think it was very interesting to watch this game because for 2.5 quarters you kind of thought, okay, Georgia, when is Georgia going to put this one away? And after that missed field goal, it really felt like, okay, this game is kind of getting drug along, and then Ole Miss goes and scores that touchdown to make it 21-19, and
Yeah,
this.
crazy thing is, I fell asleep for 30 minutes, woke up to the missed field goal, and watched the drive, and it was a whole different game. So it was.
Yeah.
I picked Georgia to win. I definitely thought by the second quarter that this game was going to get put away soon, but I was wrong.
All I'm going to say is I predicted this one. I predicted that Ole Miss was going to beat Georgia, and it happened. And one of the reasons was because of the explosiveness of this offense. I think there was a lot of noise around Ole Miss not staying together and the team not being there. But I think the team kind of got united by the fact that Lane Kiffin left. I think most of the most of the staff stayed together. Now for this next game, I think more of them are going to leave, which is kind of just it's really a shame. And I might as well just bring this up now. But like this the whole well, we'll get to it. We'll get to it when
Go
we
ahead, go
talk.
ahead, go ahead.
We'll go ahead. We'll talk about it when we get to the transfer portal.
Which is
But
crazy. I think I know what you're gonna like go with there, but I was
we'll
thinking the
talk
same
about it.
thing.
Well, let's talk
Yeah.
about this game. But like, just I kind of felt in heading into this game that Ole Miss was going to kind of stay together and they weren't going to be kind of drifted apart like the media was trying to like tell you. I think Charlie Weiss still did his stuff. He was still on the squad. He's going to be on the squad coming into the Miami game, and I think he really did uh, do some of his best stuff in this game. But I think also you had to hand it to Trinidad Chambliss. But this offense was playing great, and I thought that if the play caller stayed and if most of the team stayed together, this was going to be a great Ole Miss offense, and it was. I mean, a lot of great drives in this second half that they had. Some plays that kind of looked Mahomey a little bit, and then just Kawan Lacey doing his stuff. And I mean, Gunnar Stockton, you got to hand it to him too. He was really physical in this game. He had a couple turnovers, but uh, he, yeah, I think he had a fumble. But he was really physical in this one, and he was pretty good too. So all around, this was a good offensive game. I think it was interesting to see a couple of the decisions to go for it on fourth down from Georgia. But I think just a very good game. Just watching it, and you got to hand it to Ole Miss. They just outplayed Georgia at the end of the day, and it just a very interesting game to watch, especially when it got to 34-24, and then you see Georgia respond and able to tie it back up, and then Ole Miss responds and puts on the field goal to win it. Like, it was just a really good game, and you got to hand it off to Ole Miss. I think 8 times out of 10 or 9 times out of 10, though, Georgia wins this football game, but in that 1 or 2 times, that's why I love football. It's just like a couple of plays lead to an outcome. Like, you've got to make the plays, and Georgia didn't make the plays in the end. Uh, you know, and Ole Miss did. So I think this was a very fun game. Um, and Ole Miss is going to have a heck of a challenge against Miami, but I think it'll be fun to watch. So yeah. Anything else on the Sugar Bowl, CJ?
Think you hit the nail on the head. I think that was a great analysis.
Yeah. All right. Well, we will now move on to the Orange Bowl. In a very, very weird game, I would say.
Weird, but also dominant in that same breath. It it
I'll
was
go
a
ahead
very
and
boring game.
I enjoyed it. I think this was a very weird game when it comes to the fact that this it should have been over a long time before it was actually over.
Mhm.
Even in the fourth quarter it was 13-0. Like I mean, a
Mhm.
couple of run plays um, from Texas Tech, which I feel like they should have ran it more um, in this ball game. But then again, they only got a couple of snaps off. They only got 22 minutes of offense off in this game because they just couldn't keep the offense on the field. Um, a very interesting game when it comes to just that Texas Tech could not, like I said, keep it on the field. Like they could not keep their offense on the field.
I mean,
Baron
like I've said
Morton,
this whole year, they can't score at
yeah,
all. And I it's just this was that right in front of us. I mean, Baron Morton, all praise to him for this season he's had, but he looked awful and their offense is so stagnant and I the limited times they made it past the 50-yard line.
I think Baron Morton just didn't have his best stuff today. He turned the
Mm-mm.
ball over um, a couple times, and I think he had a fumble. He had two interceptions. That fumble obviously leading to a touchdown, which kind of sealed off the game because it feels like when you're down 6-0 in this game, you feel like okay, one play and you're right back in it. But when you're down 13-0, you're like okay, now we got to go two times, score. It's just not going to work. And so I mean, but to add on to that, Oregon just didn't really look impressive either in this game, and that's credit to Texas Tech's defense. You look at this one, and I mean, some crazy third down and fourth down stats. 4 for 19 on third down for Oregon. They're 4 for 8 on fourth down. Oregon went for it a lot on fourth down in this game.
Just because they knew that
Um,
Texas Tech could not score the
they
football.
knew they couldn't score the football. But props to Texas Tech. They were able to stop them a couple times in this one and really kind of make this still a little bit interesting. Um, I mean, who knows? It was a very just weird game where Dante Moore he didn't look his best. He was efficient, but he didn't look his best. He got sacked a lot. He got put up, or well, I wouldn't say he got sacked. I mean, it was a very weird game from him. They Oregon could not run the ball, and that probably affected Dante Moore a little bit in this game. 47 rushes, 64 yards from Oregon. Uh, just not a lot going on there. So a very weird defensive game. I mean, it was 16-0 until the 2 minute mark. Um, of this game of the fourth quarter. So it was closer than it looked. But just a very dominant game on the defensive side of the ball for both teams. And Oregon was able to get a couple points off turnovers and put this one away. But I mean, Oregon really. I think the offense is a little bit of concern, and I think when you're going to go up against the next opponent, I think that's even more of a concern. But uh,
But I also think like in the same breath, Oregon did play arguably the best defense in the country, with the Heisman candidate as a defensive player, and that speaks volumes to the Texas Tech defense. Um, However, their performance wasn't really that impressive, regardless of who they played. So, I mean, we don't know, but also if Texas Tech had a SEC offense, they're probably contenders for the national championship. So,
yeah, yeah. I don't know about SEC offense. I mean, they could have had Alabama's offense, but
oh yeah, I mean,
but I mean, here
if they had
you
Tennessee's
can't
offense, hey,
don't put SEC on. Don't say SEC. You got to say
but hey, if they
a
had
team.
Tennessee's
But
offense, they could have
yeah,
national champions.
but I mean, at the end of the day, I think this is definitely a tough game for Oregon's offense, but I think it's gonna get tougher when you're playing Indiana. So I think there's a lot to take away from this game and a lot to work on for Oregon, and I think that could help them heading into the Peach Bowl. But a good win from Oregon, um, but just there was a lot left on the table. I felt like offensively for uh, Oregon. So anything else from this game that you'd like to talk about, CJ?
Uh, no, I mean, I just Oregon has to step it up for the next opponent. Just, I mean, you won't see as good as the defense you saw this week previously, but anything could happen.
Yeah,
That's why
anything
we play
could
the games.
happen. Indeed, yeah. Um, all right. Well, let's move on to the final quarterfinal game that we'll talk about here in this one, and that is the Rose Bowl, a highly anticipated one. A lot of people predicted Alabama to win this game, and it ended up
I
being a
was not one of
blowout.
them. I was not one
Um,
of them.
Indiana beats Alabama 38-3. Uh, takeaways from this one, CJ.
Alabama should not have been here. I can't lie. And this was a run-heavy game, run-dominant game. I mean, we all saw the forecast leading up to this. We thought it was going to get postponed. Um, I didn't realize Ty Simpson passed for 67 yards, though. I mean, geez. Um, yeah, I mean, Alabama's strong suit has not been running the football, and when you force them to do that all game, especially in the conditions they were in, they can't pass the ball either. You just get a recipe for disaster, and that's what it was. And Indiana played their brand of football and just absolutely dominated them. I mean,
Yeah,
you could do that with any team though. If the weather has to play a factor and to make you do what you can't do at all, and you've shown that for the previous 10 games, you're not going to win this football game. And I feel like Alabama probably going into that knew that. So, yeah.
I mean, I think Alabama should have been in the playoffs. I mean, they won a game to get here. I
I
think
mean, yeah,
it's
definitely. I mean, they deserve to be here. I don't like them there, but I mean, they're there. But also in that same breath, I'm gonna say that a lot. They just can't run the football, and a rain game was coming sooner or later where they had to run the football more and can't pass, and this was that game.
I mean, I think really when it comes down to it, I think Indiana is just that good. I think you look at uh, what they were able to do in this game, and I think uh, they had 215 on the ground. Fernando Mendoza had more touchdowns than he did incompletions. I think just they were way better coached. I think this was a team on a mission. You look at it, and I mean, just crazy stat game here 9 for 14 third down compared to 3 for 11 for Bama. Obviously, Ty Simpson got hurt in the
Broken
middle of
ribs,
this
I
one.
think, if I remember right.
In the middle of
Broken
this one, yeah,
broken ribs.
something like that. But
And
like,
speaking of, how many drops from Ryan Williams on the season? I think he's 12. I think 12 drops. Yeah, something crazy.
yeah, something like that. But I mean, it's just like this was a very just a team who I like, kind of like I mentioned, had to get going a little bit, had to get revved up. But when they was it was a really dominant performance from them. I think just the second half was a masterclass in coaching, just to keep the pedal to the metal, keep the foot on the gas. Um, I really do like this Indiana team to go all the way. I think, uh, I think a lot of people didn't realize, you know, that they were this good, and I think they had a little bit of bias, and that's okay. But it's just that's what it is. I think to think that Alabama was ever going to win this game, I wish we could have had a live show last week so I could have had it out before the game. But I mean, to think that Alabama was ever going to win this one was kind of laughable. I think it could have been a good game possibly, but I think at the end of the day, Indiana was always gonna be a better coach team. They could throw and run, um, and I mean, it's just Alabama can't run the football. They have a worse defense. They have a worse offense. I mean, it's just
And they're
it
also not elite at passing the football or
no,
catching the football. So it's just a recipe for disaster, and that's what they met this game.
yeah. I think this was a all around thrashing. It brings up some bad faith arguments, and we're not going to get into to that here because this is a strictly truth based program. But it's just like all around, this was a messy result, which brings up messy talking points, and you hate to see those. But I think from what you can see on the field, this was just a better team going off against a worse team. And I think if Oklahoma played them, it'd be the same. I think if Texas Tech played them, it'd be the same. I think if any of the group of five teams played it, it'd be the same. I think if any of the
I'd
first
say
round.
if Oklahoma played Indiana is what you're saying,
Oh,
right?
yeah. Yeah.
I don't think this game ends up being this bad just because Oklahoma is a lot more versatile on the offensive side of the ball. I don't think they win by any means, but I think they have at least a touchdown.
Okay. So 38-7 instead of 38-3.
I'd
Okay.
say it would be like 38-17. Still a butt whooping,
Okay.
but you have to realize how bad Alabama is offensively. When you can't run the football, like running opens up passing. You can't pass to run. You have to run to pass.
Hey, but I was told that, Alabama had a really good quarterback in Ty Simpson, and, this
You
was
didn't
just
hear
gonna
that from
be.
anybody on this channel.
But I was told that. I was told that they were real, and then as soon as they lose, everybody comes back and they're like, "Oh, blah, 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 blah,
We keep it
blah,
real
blah,
on
blah."
this channel. We never thought Ty Simpson was that good. I can't really. I don't know. I never thought Ryan Williams was that good.
All right,
Spinny catch, dude.
spinny catch, dude. All right, well, that concludes it for the quarterfinal recap. As we will take a little bit of break before we go into the next playoff games. We're going to talk about a lot of media people's favorite part about college football: NIL and transfer portal. The transfer portal has been crazy. It's given us some results, and there's still a lot of results to be had. Top three players on the board still at large: Sam Levitt, Cam Coleman, Chaz Coleman. Big difference there. But we've gotten some results. Uh, so CJ, who is your most notable on this list transfer landed player so far off the board? You would
You already know
say
who I'm going to say.
who is it?
Byron Brown.
Mm.
Huge Byron Brown fans over here. I think this is going to work. I think it's going to go great. We have inside at Auburn. Actually, I think Ty Buster said if they wanted to play a bowl game right now, they would have no team. So it's interesting to see what's going to get built around them. Auburn's lost a lot, but they've also. I think this is a huge game for them, and I think um, quarterback hype in the portal is usually a scam, but I feel like this is going to be one of the ones that's going to hit. So
Yeah, I think it's always interesting with teams like this. I don't know if it's going to work out. I think first year head coach, and you're putting together a lot of different guys, obviously from USF headed to Auburn, and then you throw in a lot of mishmash other players. It's difficult to forecast preseason, and then it's really easy to forecast after the first game.
it's a hit or
But
miss. I mean, it could end up being a dumpster fire. We don't know.
I don't know, but I think Byron Brown's a really good player, and I think at minimum he's going to be okay. I think the biggest hit on this list for me, um, and I think what's notable here is you look at Josh Hoover and Nick Marsh, two really solid players going to Indiana. Um, and Indiana's kind of reloading, and I think a lot of they're going to be obviously now ranked high because they've given you a result this year, which is dumb. Um, I think, but that's just how college football is, I guess now. Um,
Or who knows? This could be a Michigan wins the Natty. They get dropped down to 15th in the preseason ranking. So
I think Josh Hoover's a good ad. I think Nick Marsh is obviously a good ad. I think he was a really good guy at Michigan State, but I like those two, and I think Indiana getting added at the portal is really weird. And it brings up a point for me um, before we keep talking about transfer portal of I just don't like I don't like where we're at in college football where we're having all this transfer portal talk. We're having all of this, is the Ole Miss staff going to go to LSU so they can get their transfer portal
I knew that's what you were gonna
guys?
say. I
And
actually know
can
one,
we?
Joe Cox, the tight end coach. My dad coached with him,
Mm,
about a couple years ago at Mallard Creek High School before he
mm,
became a college football coach. Great guy. He actually taught me how to play quarterback back in the day. But,
mm.
I
But
don't know.
anyway,
Can they wait, are we talking about that?
let me get on my rant here. I don't like it. I don't think it's good. I don't think even the transfer portal being open right now, I don't think is good.
You think mid-season, like, I mean,
I don't
late
think
season?
anything is I don't think it's good at all. I don't think Indiana getting guys right now is good. I don't think any guys going right now as the season's still going. Can we not focus on the playoff? Everybody has been saying, okay, we want to go, oh, we need this playoff. We need these playoffs so because we care so much about, this season and that we need to get a champion. And then we're already like, okay, who's going to go here next year? Who's going to go here next year? Who's going to it's like can we not be focused on either the playoff or like what are we doing? I
I
think
completely agree. I mean, it feels like we're already, like, in a media narrative, it feels like we're already in the fall of 2026 with all this transfer portal stuff, and I feel like it should be delayed. I feel like if you want to open it, um, this early in the season, I mean, this late in the season, which I am against, I feel like it needs to be open for a longer window. We shouldn't have to have a, like, 5-day cutoff after the national championship of guys still trying to find their home for the following year. I think it should open probably, like, a week after the season.
yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of things I'd like to change about the transfer portal. I mean, one of them being a cutoff on how many times you can transfer. One of them being another thing being, just the time of when this is all happening. But I also think the season itself shouldn't go on past New Year's Day. I feel like I think,
I'm big on
and
the timing. I feel like if we get the timing in order, that kinda cuts down the guys transferring 3 and 4 times throughout their collegiate career. Because I mean, if the timing gets in order, all this, like, I guess not under the table, but kind of like sketchy recruiting, "Hey, I come and see you at this certain time." Like, I feel like we get the times in order, we get those certain rules in place, it kinda takes away from the guys being able to go to 3 and 4 different schools in 4 years.
yeah, I mean, it's just it's really messy right now. I mean, and obviously it is what it is. But I just don't like it. I don't think it's healthy for the sport. I don't think the sport at all right now is really healthy. I think it's just, but it is what it is. I think just with the way all the coaches are going. I mean, half of the coaches in the college football playoff are leaving or have already taken other jobs, and so they're doing double duty um, with other things. And you kind of got to think, well,
And they gotta choose.
how is that affecting everything else? I mean, Lane Kiffin's still getting paid from LSU for Ole Miss doing good in the playoffs. I don't. I mean, it's just all it's dumb. It's dumb, and I think I'll go into it more in the off season. Maybe I'll make some videos on it, but like it's just I don't really like it. I don't like how much people are getting paid for all of this.
So you
Sue
don't
me.
how players are getting,
I don't think Brendan Sorsby should be getting paid $5 million to go to Texas Tech. I don't think so.
I mean,
I don't think
he
so.
definitely isn't the type of name to deserve that money, but there's some people that
No, no, no.
really do
It's not
deserve.
even just the name. It's just like, but
I'm
I
never gonna hate for
digress.
athletes getting their money. I think that's great, but I feel like there are some outliers in the bunch that kind of abuse this, coaches included, that abuse the how many times you can transfer, transferring, like, I mean, I feel like you can only do it so many times to where it's for your benefit. before you're just
Yeah.
sitting here playing around in people's face. I feel like athletes getting paid is great, um, but like I have a firsthand in the Nico situation. That's greedy. That's very greedy, and I feel like he wasn't worth what we were paying him already. And I feel like people like that just kind of ruin it for the good apples in the bunch.
I mean, at the end of the day, what's for their good is getting an education. But I don't.
See,
That's
that's no, because I mean, you have to realize if you're getting drafted in that third year, a lot of times you're not finishing school or people don't go to summer school that early. I mean, you got to take into account some guys aren't getting their education just because they haven't been in school for that long.
but the
And if
dudes
you
who are
are sophomore
transferring,
eligible and you're 21 by then you might go sophomore year and you still might not get your education yet.
it's a very I don't know. But then you also think about it, and the dudes who are transferring four times, there aren't they like it's just yeah, I don't know. It's
But you have to
very
sit
tough.
here and look, the guys are transferring 3, 4 times. A majority of those guys really aren't that good. So is it really I mean, is it harming the integrity of college football? Yes, but is it really harming the sport? I'd probably beg to disagree.
I don't know on it. I think um you get one, maybe two.
But what about
I'm,
guys
I'm
going from JUCO, maybe D3 to D2, D2 to D1, mid-major to Power 4? I feel like you have to take all that into account. Or is there like a certain cap you put on levels? Like you can go how
you
many
can
in this
trench
level?
you can tra- you it's still in the Cooper board of directors office right now. It's not been approved, but I think you get one per level. You get one per level. I think that's
One
what
per
you get.
level.
I think you get one per level. I think we don't need to see you go from Auburn to USF to UNLV to Idaho to back to now. Oh, now he's going to Western Kentucky on his
Okay,
sixth
but that
year
that
because he got
situation
hurt
is an
back in
outlier. We're not seeing that too
instead.
much.
You're
It's an
seeing it more and
outlier.
more. You're seeing it more and more. And I think once you put a cap on it, I think it incentivizes guys to
We're
actually
also seeing more
develop.
and more because
And
of the new rules about how people are getting paid now. Like, I mean, there's however many roster spots now. There's no more walk on. Everybody is now a full scholarship player. So we're gonna see more. We have more data to see more guys being outliers, but we also have a larger range of players.
yeah, but I mean, I think once you put a cap on the transfer portal, I think it incentivizes guys to not only
I think that pick
say
the
we're
right school out of high
to pick
school.
the
That's
right
number one.
school and to make good decisions, and it's not always incentivized by who has the biggest NIL budget and who also uh it also gives guys a better chance to get developed. I think when you're jumping from program to program, it's not only hurting the program, but it's hurting you because you're not you're not staying in one staff. You're not staying in
I
and
would beg to disagree there. Learning an offense, developing an offense, that's one thing. Say we're like going for the quarterback position right now. But I feel like most of your development comes from the self-will, the like workouts on your own. Say I have a private coach here, like that's where you get your development. That's where you're getting really getting better in your own off season. I feel like stuff like that really makes people better. I feel like sticking around at one school is best though because you learn your offense, you learn your defense, whatever scheme you run. Say you're on a 4-2 here, but you run a 4-2-5 somewhere else. I mean that like take that all into account, and people need to take that into account out of high school too. If I'm a guy that likes to be a walk down edge, I should probably go to a 4-2-5 and play only edge instead of hey I go to a excuse me I go to a 4-3 here. Like it's just like picking and choosing the right scheme for you out of high school.
yeah, and I mean guys are never going to be ready day one and for the pros. I think either talking about quarterback or I think for quarterback it's more difficult than other positions in the NFL. But I think just being able to stay at one school, I think helps. I think, and if you have to move, if you're in a spot where you're in the group of five and you want to move up, yes. But I think for the betterment of the sport, I think group of five teams. I think also with people who are complaining about the group of five. I think it would help stabilize uh, the group of five and give us better results, kind of like how we saw pre-COVID um, with the group of five, how they group of five was better back before COVID
I mean, yeah, I
because
mean,
of the
as you
limits on
saw,
the
like
transfer portal. And I
as you saw
think,
JMU, they're all in the portal right now. And I mean,
yeah,
rightfully so. Those guys earned it. They played great in the G5, and I feel like those guys deserve a better opportunity. But I feel like that's what the transfer portal's for, not for people. I mean, and I get coaches leave, it happens, and I do feel for those guys that use the transfer portal for that reason, but I mean, where do we draw the line at?
yeah.
I just think we never know.
But I mean, but I think if you put a limit on the portal, then you're going to see um, guys in the group of five who just aren't going to move up, and that'll be good for the entire sport because not only um, are you going to see better competition, even in those week 1, 2, and 3 games where, um, I mean, honestly, now they're going to be put in a spot where they're going to have to schedule those games because of how
Yeah, but
bloated the conference schedule is.
do we see that same NFL scout coverage for those like guys that are playing for smaller schools, which I'm sure they probably will. I mean, NFL scouts and
I
NFL
think
analysts
scouts
aren't
I think
idiots.
scouts look everywhere, and I think
Yeah,
the
I
talent
mean,
talent will rise to the
they
top.
will find you, but guys that are deserving of an NFL spot, say I'm a top 3 rounder, I'd rather get the equipment and the facilities at Georgia rather than JMU, and that's just a fact. I'd
Yeah,
rather have those resources of a top power four school or like Texas A&M, all that oil money. I'd rather have the facilities there and all that to my disposal rather than being um at JMU or any other G5 or like UNC Charlotte.
yeah. I think it would be better for the entire sport if we were able to put a limit on it,
Yeah.
and able to see guys grow, and it would make it. I think it would make it a little bit more top heavy, um, but also the talent that is at the bottom and is grown by the the schools who recruit them. They aren't going to be punished because they recruited a good player and they recruited well.
I'd
So
love it too, but I mean, I'm just trying to figure out where do we even draw the line at?
yeah,
And I feel
well,
like I don't want to draw a line on say NIL because I mean, there's a lot of people that deserve NIL money, but there's also some people that just don't. And I feel like I feel like the benefit does not outweigh the risk of saying putting a cap on NIL or it's like how there's no salary cap in baseball.
I
It's
mean,
just like
NIL hasn't been used as it's intended either. I mean, NIL was really created so that guys could get their name, image, and likeness monetized, and now it's getting to where
yeah, and I feel like
this is a
it's
professional
also
sport, and it's not a professional sport. It's an amateur sport, and that's why people watch. And it's not because these guys are professional athletes. None of these guys are professional athletes. They would all get um, squashed by the Jets. So I
okay,
think,
okay. As in a team setting, yes, but there
and
are
I
probably
think
5% of guys that
so.
are really professional athletes in college football.
But the thing is like they should not be getting paid more than the minimum salary in the NFL. Like these guys are not. I mean, they're not. They're not.
Well, I mean,
And
you
so,
say that, but then also these guys are better than probably like the guys that are getting paid these like say Jeremiah Smith, he's better than a practice squad guy, receiver, say on the Chargers. And that's just a fact. He just isn't of the age to be in the NFL yet. So yes, I'd say he deserves his money.
but I mean, the thing is like if you're that good, then you're just going to get paid in the NFL. And
But I feel
I
like why
think for
wait
the
at the
good of
same
for
time?
the good of the
Anything could happen. You could get hurt, anything could happen, like your career could end tomorrow. And I feel like that's why they're paying these guys what they're worth. And some
that's
people are
not
getting
always how it's
overpaid.
intended to. But that's not how it was intended so that these guys could get paid a little bit for their image and like name, image, and likeness, and now it's just getting to be a
Yeah, and I'd
just
say
a
it kind of
contract sport.
balances
Like when you
out
see
like
what you see with Demon Will, Demon
Damon,
Williams,
Demon, or sorry.
Demond,
Yeah, I don't know how to say
whatever.
his name still
I
to this day.
just put an S in there, make it Desmond. But I
That
mean
that's
Demon Williams,
yeah.
Demon Williams. how he signs the contract last week and now this week he wants to go into the transfer portal. Like contracts should, I mean, we shouldn't have any contracts here. I don't have a contract with Charlotte to go to go and go to school there. Why? I mean, it's just there should be no contracts. There should be
I feel like we should leave
it's
contracts to professional sports, and
it's and they I don't know.
I feel like in name, image, and likeness, it was a good thing. Is it getting abused a little bit? Yeah, by all means, but I
Yes,
feel
it's
like
getting
it also balances it out. It hurts G5 teams, it hurts smaller schools, but it balances out the playing field for all these Power 4 schools who are paying guys under the table, kinda like a just like a told secret. I mean, everybody knew it was happening, but I feel this kinda just levels out the playing field that schools that are, have the money are now willing to pay over the table instead of under the table because they don't wanna get in trouble.
yeah. I mean, it always was kind of happening. But I think
And certain schools couldn't
in
compete
a
just because they didn't wanna take that risk.
in a world where we could fix this, I think it would be ideal if you know. I mean, no. I mean, if I don't know. It's just it's a tough thing to go about, and obviously, um, it's gonna keep happening. But it's just tough to see, and I think a lot of this stuff can get restructured to where um, it can improve the sport. So anyway, we've rambled on about that for a little bit. We will now go to the games coming up on Thursday. That would be tomorrow and Friday. The first one we will talk about is Miami and Ole Miss playing in the Fiesta Bowl. That one going to be tomorrow. Um, so CJ, give me your thoughts on this one. Hold off on your pick, but give me your thoughts on this one and what do you think about this game?
Hold off on my pick, correct?
Hold off on your pick until the end.
I just oh, I didn't write yeah. If we all look at the key factors here, I was gonna say whoever wins the turnover battle probably wins this game. I'd say Trinidad Chambliss, if he plays like he did last game, like a true number one quarterback, um, I'd say I probably give the cake to Ole Miss. But I just feel like who knows in this game? Does Miami's defense come out hitting on all cylinders like they have the past 2 weeks? Um, I for one was not a believer after the Texas A&M game because Texas A&M has played terrible on offense those 3 weeks prior. Um, I feel like this is like their true test to really see against a really high-powered Ole Miss offense coming off of a good week of football. Um, I don't know. I definitely have my pick, I think, right now, but yeah,
I
that's my
think
take.
I mean I think that for me I like Miami or I like I like Miami's physicality against Ole Miss's. I think you look at it and Miami has looked the most physically sound team in this playoff. Right up there with Indiana. I think those are the two teams, but I think you look at it and they had a really good tough test against Ohio State's offense and they were able to rise to the occasion. And I think in this one, um, I think one of the key factors is going to be can Ole Miss run the ball on Miami. Um, Ohio State wasn't really able to. Um, and so I think if you put all that weight on Trinidad Chambliss, he's going to crumble. Um, I
Mm.
think I think at the end of the day, it's going to be too. I mean, I just like Miami's defense. I think obviously Ole Miss's defense is less of a challenge than Ohio State's, and so I think Carson Beck in this run game is going to have a little bit of an easier time. And so I think it's going to be a lower scoring game, and I think what's the key factor in this game is can Ole Miss run the ball, take the weight off of Trinidad Chambliss because they're Ole Miss is going to get attacked up front. Their O line's going to have to hold. Miami's going to try to get after the quarterback.
I feel
Um,
like if Ole Miss starts off really slow, if they did last game, they're probably going to lose. But honestly, Miami hasn't come out swinging in these playoff games either. So I mean, this, like you said, this could be a really low scoring football game. I'd probably say less than 3 scores from both sides.
yeah, I think it's definitely going to be tough to. It's going to be a close one, I think. I think the turnover battle is going to be huge. Um, but at the end of the day, I think um, it's going to come down to can Ole Miss match the physicality of Miami, and so that's something that
Miami
I'm going to be
plays
looking for.
fast. Miami
Hmm.
plays really fast.
Yeah. So CJ, give me your prediction for this game. Who do you have winning it?
Um, Again, I have no care who wins. But we are always an unbiased page. So for that, let me take the SEC bias and let me go Ole Miss. Just
Wow.
because I don't want to see Michael Irvin kissing on anybody after this win. So
Okay. Well, I will pick Miami in this one. I think
I also
they
picked because I knew you were going to pick Miami. So I want to
yeah.
have some controversy here.
I think Miami's just the more physical team right now. I think Ole Miss's offense is definitely something to be reckoned with, but I think this defense can rise to the occasion. I think the time of possession will be on Miami's side, and I think Ole Miss is going to have to create some turnovers on defense, and I don't know if they're going to be able to do that. So it'll be interesting to watch, but I think Miami has the slight edge, but I think it'll be close. So um, we will see. Now let's move on to the Peach Bowl. Indiana versus Oregon. Indiana, the slight favorite in this one. They have already played this year at Oregon, 30-20. Indiana won that one. Um, they were able to, even with a pick six, they were able to win this one. So now a lot further down in the season. Give me some of your thoughts on this one without giving me your pick, CJ.
I'm just going to lean Indiana just because Oregon wasn't really impressive. Dante Moore, again, QB1 in this draft, played really well. Took care of the football. But I'd say Indiana's just hitting on all cylinders right now. They run the ball really well. Fernando Mendoza looking accurate as ever, just not making many mistakes, and they hold on to the football very well. I'm going to take Indiana. I know this is probably the favorite here. It is the favorite. Oh wait, dang it! I didn't mean to do that.
That's okay.
I mean,
That's
I
okay.
think I think everybody knew though. I mean, I think this is the
Yeah.
obvious pick here. Oregon's defense also did play a really good game against Texas Tech, but Texas Tech's offense also is so blatantly bad. Yeah, obvious pick there.
I think a couple interesting things here. I'd like to see if Oregon can run the ball. I think that's going to be a big thing. I think can can Oregon also can they stop Indiana's run game, because I think um, why Fernando Mendoza can be so efficient is that he has a run game to complement him, and so I think
They run the
you
ball
kind of
70% of the time. That is their offense. And I think any quarterback, honestly, could play very well off of that, not discrediting Fernando Mendoza's Heisman and by any means, but I feel like he does have the easiest situation of a quarterback in college football.
yeah. I mean that, but that comes down to just how they're coached, their play calling. I think overall they play complementary football,
Hmm.
and they play some of the best I think that we've seen in the playoff era, even up there with what they have been given in terms of talent and just their roster. I think they have gotten the most. They have gotten the most out of it, and I would even argue out of any team in the playoff era, they've gotten the most out of it, from talent to what they've put out on the field. And I think that's
You said in the whole
impressive
playoff era?
in the full playoff era. I think for what they've been given, what you've been able to squeeze out of them, and what the just how efficient they are. I think in the playoff era, I think it's been. I think that's it's been. They're the best
I think that
coached.
definitely is an argument, but I feel like I don't want to take like a non-niche answer, like a really popular. I feel like that 2019 LSU team. I mean, I know they had a great roster. You're trying to say like that Indiana doesn't have a great roster, squeezing out as much like as they can out of their own players. But I feel like Indiana's roster is really good, and I feel like that 2019 LSU team had a really good roster, and they also maximized it to their fullest potential. So I mean,
I
I
mean,
don't know.
I think that's easy to say
I mean,
now that
it is off
in
based off of
that
results.
Indiana's roster's really good, which I mean their roster's really good, but I think, you know, just looking at it like preseason, none of these people, even as the season was going on, they were getting discredited. And so
Yeah.
I think just what they've been able to do, just from a coaching standpoint and how complimentary they've played, um, like they're not results driven, and I think that's huge. And um, they're not feeding off of anybody's you know criticism or doubt. They're feeding off of themselves, and they're looking towards the next play, and they're not looking on the scoreboard. And so I think that's really tough to beat, and that's why I brought all that up. And so I think Oregon's going to have a really tough time, but I think if they are able to limit the run game, I think that's their only avenue in this game. I mean, and that's easy to say, but that's hard to do. And so it would be, even if they limit the run game, I think Fernando Mendoza is going to be really, really tough to beat. But I think that's the way you do it. I think that's the way Penn State almost was able to knock them off. And I think Ohio State was able to limit the run game pretty good as well. And so I think you're going to have to look out for that. I think Oregon on third and fourth down, I think it's going to be big. What they do there is going to be very interesting to watch. I think you're going to see them go for it a couple times on fourth down in this game.
But
Um,
that's if they can make it to fourth down and if they can convert and if they have the confidence to take it on fourth down. They're not playing Texas Tech. Indiana's a really good offense.
yeah, and I think Indiana's secondary is going to be huge in this one as well, just because um, if they can lock that down, they're going to have to force Oregon to run the ball, and that's going to be something to watch as well. And then obviously turnovers. So a lot of things in this game that I'm looking towards, but I think um, how efficient Indiana is and the way they're able to execute, I think is going to be the difference in this one. And I think Indiana is going to come out on top. Um, I think it'll be it could go a lot of different ways, but I see Indiana winning this one. I'm not going to predict, what's going to exactly happen in the game, but I think Indiana's going to come out on top just because of the way that they are coached. They're not reactionary. Um, they're there to play football and complementary football, and I like that. I like that. I like that.
Yeah, and I feel like the odds aren't 100-0. I feel like if Oregon can make Indiana and Fernando Mendoza pass the ball 25 times this game, I think then they have a real shot to win. I feel like airing it out isn't their strong suit, and if they can just create some turnovers there, I feel like they have a huge shot to win this game. And then, of course, if they get into a fourth down situation, do they drop the nuts and do they convert on these fourth downs? Do they go for it on these fourth downs? We just don't know. And if that's in their game plan, and if they convert on those, I feel like that could be a very dominant performance.
Yeah. All right. Well, that will do it for um, our predictions for these two games. That any other thoughts on these games or anything else, CJ?
I'm all good.
All right. Well, we will wrap it up here. Next week, we'll be back. We will talk about these games right here a little bit. We'll talk a little bit more about the transfer portal, and we will reveal the results of our picks for this year. Nobody's going to get a correct national champion. I can reveal that, but we will reveal more next week. And we will talk more about that there. Um, any anything else? I'm not really thinking of, but um, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like this one. Make sure you go check out our other stuff. The new year comes with resolutions. We're going to put out more stuff this year. We're going to put out more clip videos, and you're going to see a couple other videos maybe this year. We'll see. I won't give you anything, but we'll see. Um, we'll be doing more live shows and all that sort of stuff. Exciting year in 2026. But make sure to go follow our Instagram, our TikTok, to make sure you're updated on when we're doing live shows. CJ got a tattoo. Cool deal. Don't click off the video. He's still okay. He's not out of his mind. He just got a tattoo. But, um and yeah, that's about it. I don't know. I can't think of anything else. But thank you for watching. We appreciate it. We try not to just come on here and speak for nothing, but thank you for watching. And we will see you in the next one. Peace out.